Justin's preseason top 5 power rankings. Same thing. Start with 5 all the way through 1. Walk us through it.
All right. Yeah, so my number 5 team is my team, our team, the 49ers. I believe, after a NFC championship run last year where they fall short to the Rams, Rams defense just really came through towards the end of that game, and 49ers offense didn't. But I believe we bounced back. I think in the preseason, in training camp, videos and stuff that I've been watching, I've watched a lot of the beat reporters. I follow Twitter a lot. I think Trey Lance gives us that element of being able to move the pocket, roll out, that mobility. And then I mentioned it on Wednesday in our other podcast. Just Trey Lance aside, never mind him and the offensive weapons we have. I think our defense is going to be the best it's been in a really, really long time. I think we got a really deep defensive line. We're going to generate pass rush. We're going to constantly be in the quarterback's lap, and the 49ers DBs are really going to be ball hawking. They're going to get a lot of interceptions. The preseason has been any indicator that is really going to come to fruition. We don't have a lot of questions, at DB. I think there's just more continuity overall there. So I think they're primed for another deep run. I have them number 5. I have the Buccaneers as my number 4 team. This is where, I mentioned where I respected Torrey's approach because if I was thinking more along the lines of how the season will progress, I probably would replace the Buccaneers with a team like the Chargers, definitely. But as of right now, even with Tampa Bay, down a couple of offensive linemen, they still have Tom. They still have a extremely deep receiving group. I expect them to continue to air it out. Leonard Fournette, he's primed for another big year. He even with the reports about his weight and stuff like that, he's actually looked pretty decent in his limited preseason action. So I have them as my number 14, just really based off the not a lot of turnover there. Coaching change, I'll be curious to see how that differs, like schematically and stuff like that. But for now, I'm going to take the safer approach. I'm going to keep the Bucs there in my top 5. Then I got the Bengals.
Really quick, hold on. Before we move on, you said that Leonard Fournette is poised to have a big season. Was that a body shaming joke? Trying to make fun of his weight? I'm just kidding. All right, go ahead.
Way to put me on the spot. I wouldn't body shame anyone. No, I got the Bengals in as my number 3 team for a lot of the same reasons Torrey mentioned earlier, where he had them at number 5. They didn't have a lot of turnover either. Burrow, he's poised for another big season. Jamar Chase in his second season, I think he's going to have a monster season. They said he's actually been doing a little bit more work out of the slot, which will be interesting to see, running a little bit more routes and stuff like that. I think that they upgraded their tight end position as well. So their offense should be better. I was waiting to see how the J.C. Bates situation kind of played out. He was holding out there, or I guess a hold in, like a lot of these players. And he did just recently sign the tag, and he was a big part of their playoff run last year. Honestly, he had a bunch of interceptions, made a bunch of big defense plays throughout the postseason that, especially in the game against the Chiefs. So I have them as my number 3. Again, a lot of continuity there. I expect Smoke and Joe to really just come out and pick up right where he left off. And Joe Mixon, so they got a really deep squad. And then I've got the Rams, fresh off a Super Bowl run. Yeah, they lose Von Miller, but they still got a really, really good defense. I mean, they were a great defense before Von Miller showed up. They've got arguably the best defense player or best overall player in the entire NFL, and Aaron Donald. I'd like to see kind of what happens. I wouldn't anticipate a lot, but I would like to see if anything is said about the incident by the NFL. But it would kind of surprise me. I don't make anything of it. It was pretty wild, but I don't make anything of it. I don't think the NFL gets involved. And their receiving group, pretty deep. Stafford, obviously, he's a great quarterback. I'd like to see how their run game plays out this year. They're expected to be, backfield by committee. But, again, just a lot of continuity there. Not a lot of turnover. They did lose Miller, and OBJ as well. But I think some of the pieces they got in return, like with Allen Robinson on their offense, really going to make up for that. And then at number one, again, across the league and fans everywhere, probably consensus number one for a lot of people is the Buffalo Bills. I actually think their receiving group this year is going to be better. And this is not a knock on guys like Emmanuel Sanders and Cole Beasley. I just think that now their receiving group they have the same talent. They're just much, much younger. Gabriel Davis is young. Obviously, Diggs, he's still prime. He's young. He's in his prime. They've got some weapons over there. And their running game looks a lot better this preseason. If I'm being honest with you, just watching the tape, going back, watching, all three of their running backs look really, really good, averaging 5 yards per carry. Not one of them has really had a down game, in the action that they've had in the preseason. So when you combine a healthier running game, the running game of Josh Allen, who's arguably the best quarterback in the league, young quarterback in the league. Obviously, he can air it out. They got these receivers. Their defense is top notch. Man, I think they're primed for another run. Just a couple minutes away from possibly going to the Super Bowl last year, or at least getting a chance to. So
13 seconds.
Yeah.
13
seconds.
13 seconds. Yep.
You know they're hungry. They're hungry.
Yep. All right, Tori. You got any feedback? Any reaction?
Yeah, with the Bills, I'll be interested to see. I personally don't ever put stock into preseason, so I'll be interested to see if the Bills' running game translates to the regular season, or if the coaching staff goes back to throwing the ball as often as they normally do and kind of abandon the run. We'll see. If they don't, if they use the run as they should, then I'm not sure there's anyone that should beat them. They'll get beat a couple times, of course, but if they use their running game appropriately and they stay healthy, that team's just nasty. I think number 2 is the Rams. I can't disagree with much there. I don't know if I have not seen them be a running back by committee. I kind of assume Cam Akers is going to be the guy. I know they've got a couple of guys, Darrell Henderson and somebody else, but Cam Akers came back last year early from his Achilles injury and seemed to play pretty well. So I feel like if he continues to be healthy, that's another team that they're just loaded at basically all the skill positions. The Bengals at 3, again, no argument there. That team is also quite loaded. The Bucs at 4, I know that's a common pick to have the Bucs in the top 5. They've got Tom Brady. They've got lots of weapons. I just don't see it this year. Nobody's really paying attention to their offensive line. I believe they lost 2 guys this offseason, one to another team, and I think one retired, and they've lost 2 guys to season-ending injuries on it. So that's 4 offensive linemen they've lost, and Tom Brady ain't getting any younger. So I think there's a chance that Tampa struggles this year. I actually have them not even winning their own division. I certainly could see them in the playoffs, but I've got them in my preseason rankings basically in the middle at 15, which is probably too low. They will probably be better than that, but I think there's a chance that they struggle. And then the Niners, I think you had it number 5. I can't disagree with that. I only had them a couple spots lower at 7. They're going to be very good. If Trey Lance is, average, as long as he's average, they're going to be fine. If he's better than average, they're going to be really good. I hope he's not. I hope he sucks, but something tells me he's not going to. Defense is loaded. Offense is loaded. Can't really argue with the Niners in the top 5.
Another bitter Packers fan. Huh?
First of all, boo that man for saying he hopes Trey Lance sucks. All right.
I don't think he will, but I hope he does.
I know. We know what you hope, but that's all right. Yeah, I really again, I can't argue with the teams that you have up there. Obviously, I have a different top 5 for a couple different reasons. But I don't see really any argument with the teams you have there. Again, if you're basing it off of, last year and the way the season finished, this could easily be the top 5. You have the 2 Super Bowl, participants, the Super Bowl champion. Like you guys been saying, the consensus number 1, I think, across pretty much every show and power rankings that you can find. I think Buffalo's at the top, so that makes sense. I would love for the 49ers to finish the season, up there. And I think obviously if Trey Lance is what we hope he is, they definitely will. So that's the one wild card, I think, that I did not put in my top 5. But I think overall, again, a solid top 5 from both of you so far.